Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. I called this press conference for a very important reason, to make an important announcement for Westchester County from the great county of Putnam, who is our representative up there for the Board of Legislators. He's actually the chairman of the Board of Legislators for Putnam County, who was gracious enough to take time out of his busy schedule to be here with me today. Others are planned to be here. Ed Day from Rockland County, who's on the board there, as well as Terrence Murphy was planning on being here, who also has joined in this effort that I'm going to be discussing today. Last year, you may know that there was what was called a MTA mobility tax. Many of us called it the MTA bailout tax. That was passed by the state legislature and signed by the governor, that instituted a widespread additional taxes to municipalities in 12 counties in New York, Hudson Valley, and New York City. And that tax was an egregious tax above and beyond what was already paid, and we'll talk about the numbers in a minute. But what happened was, when that was passed, many of our state representatives, the county representatives, and local representatives were wondering, how did this type of tax pass? Why would the state pass such a tax on such a close vote as well? And come to find out, Nassau County was thinking the same thing, and they believed that it was an unconstitutional passage, and they were going to challenge it. And I'm here today to announce that I'm joining my colleagues from Putnam County and Rockland County who have already done so. I'm going to be instituting and submitting a resolution to the Westchester County Board of Legislators to join in on the Nassau lawsuit and challenge the unconstitutionality of that mobility tax. Just to give you some numbers on how this mobility tax affects Westchester County. The $104 million of additional tax that is now paid by all facets of Westchester County, school districts, non-for-profits, individual municipalities, and of course the county of Westchester itself, adds up to $104 million. The county government contributes $1.1 million of that $104 million, but the county as a whole contributes $104. Now this is already after the county, through various fees, station maintenance fees and other taxes and services fees, $167 million that we already pay toward the MTA. So add the $104 million on top of the $167, and we have over $250 million that the county of Westchester now contributes to the MTA. That $104 million is the highest per capita of any municipality outside of Manhattan, equating to $109 for every man, woman, and child in Westchester County. That $104 million is basically sucked out of the commerce of Westchester County. We have now lost that $104 million that could go toward not only saving jobs or creating jobs and just general commerce that could be done throughout the county to help our businesses, and especially our small businesses. The $104 million in tax payments roughly equals the combined contributions of the Bronx and Kings counties, and we don't have access to a subway system or bus system as those counties do. We also need to consider another aspect that has not been mentioned yet, and that is the fact that the MTA has 3 train services. We have the Harlem line, we have the Hudson line, and we have the New Haven line. That New Haven line is occupied and happens to be actually the only line that has an increase in ridership. The Harlem and Hudson lines have a decrease in ridership this year. So the New Haven line has an increase in ridership and do not pay anything toward the MTA mobility tax, because they come from the state of Connecticut, most of those riders, and they travel through Westchester. So that is an aspect that is especially egregious to the residents of Westchester. Also recently, Comptroller DiNapoli has looked into the way the MTA has controlled, and Mr. Tamagna and I have been talking about this quite a bit. I'm going to give him a chance to make his comments in a minute. The state comptroller has looked into how the MTA deals with their overtime. And of course, here in Westchester, we're dealing with a $166 million deficit. The county executive and many of us on the board of legislators are working hard to cut that deficit by reducing the size of government, by being very careful on who is in what position, combining services, reducing services, taking a hard look at everything that the county of Westchester does, combining departments when needed, when possible, looking into overtime, retirement, health insurance, everything that we can to reduce the cost of county government. And the MTA hasn't done a very good job on their own. Let's look at some of the numbers that we found through the Napoli report. Over 140 MTA employees doubled their annual salaries through overtime pay in the year 2009. In 77% of the transactions that were checked by the State Comptroller's Office, auditors found that overtime was either unjustified or no records were kept at all about that overtime. 3,200 MTA employees received overtime pay equal to at least half their annual salary last year. And the overtime charges increased by 26% in the last 4 years and now account for 13% of the overall MTA payroll. So here we are in Westchester and other counties and in the region asked to put in millions and millions of additional dollars, and we are not getting what we feel is our bang for our buck. Not only that, but we feel that the MTA should be also doing what they can to reduce the costs on their end. So I'm very proud to be able to represent Westchester County now. We've had enough here. Westchester County now 2 years in a row has been declared the most taxed county in the United States. And to have these additional taxes is just too much for our residents to take, and enough is enough. So I'm here to say I'll be introducing that legislation today to our county, and hopefully that will be acted upon quickly by my colleagues, and the county executive and the administration will be on board to do that, and I think they will be. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I want to give the county of Putnam a chance to say their piece, and they have already done this, so I'm proud to join in with them. Mr. Tamagna.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, again, we really do need to stand our ground. This is really an issue of taxation without representation. To the fact even that we're paying here to subsidize the New York City system, we're paying to subsidize what goes on in Connecticut. We really need to come out and we need to defend the taxpayers of the Hudson River Valley. That's Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, Orange, and Dutchess counties. This is unfair. It's an egregious tax. We saw this a year ago, and we see now that businesses are leaving. You have shops that are closing up. We have nonprofits that are taxed. I mean, we take a look just in Westchester at your hospital here at the Westchester Medical Center and what it's cost that, and that they come back to us. So to the taxpayers, to the legislature when there's financial issues. What do? Do we close these places? Do these places leave? No, we have to stop it. We have to cut the waste. And the MTA, I have called before not only for a repeal of this tax, so that we can be competitive, so that our businesses don't go to Connecticut, don't go to New Jersey, but they stay right here, and we see growth, and we see jobs created, and we see that this unemployment rate, where it is at an all-time high, start to drop. We also need to take a look at going beyond all of that. I would love to see a forensic audit of their books, because there are things that have gone on in the past decade that are unconscionable. It needs to stop. We need to demand that they open their books. We need to tell the governor, this governor, and the new governor, whoever that is, that they need to get involved in that, because the people of New York State just can't afford it any longer. And I'll tell you, I will keep on fighting the fight. I'm glad to join you, John, and I appreciate the hard work that you all do in Westchester County on it. And for Rockland and Dutchess, we're going to keep the fight. We're going to join Nassau, and we're going to be one large voice on the issue. Thank you.